This presentation is brought to you by the Allegany County Department of Emergency Services and is designed to introduce you to the Motorola APX 8000 P25 Digital Phase 2 portable radio and the Maryland First 700 MHz radio system. This presentation is not designed to take the place of hands-on training. Hello, I'm Steve Shipley, Emergency Management Chief for Allegany County. Here we are in our 911 center where they handle over 300 incidents per day.
Allegany County 911, what's the address for emergency?
The Motorola APX 8000 is a tri-band radio. The radios we currently have in the county that are being deployed are 700, 800 megahertz, as well as 450 megahertz. Each radio is equipped with a Bluetooth device that will assist us in updating the radio via Wi-Fi. Here we are looking at the side view of the radio. The purple button at the top is the repeater remote activation button. The button below that, the larger button, is the push to talk button. Below the push to talk button, there are two half-moon shaped buttons. The top button serves two functions, the first being the light control button, and if you hold it in, it's also the top screen orientation button. The bottom half-moon button is the scan control button. Switching to the back view of the radio, this is where the audio speaker is located. At the bottom of the audio speaker is the blue dot Bluetooth receiver. Switching to the front view, here beside the Motorola insignia is the mic. Here's the navigation screen with the battery indicator in the upper right corner and the tower signal indicator in the upper left corner. The three buttons below the screen are the menu selection control buttons. The button here is the home button. The four arrows in the middle are the navigation buttons and also controls the menu. The button located here to the right of the navigation controls is the program data button, which will be used by the radio tech only. Looking at the top view of the radio, the knob located here is the on and off switch to the radio as well as the volume control. Located next to the on and off knob is the A, B, and C switch, which allows you to navigate between the Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie zones in your radio, which are the first three zones, and they're the Allegany County channels. The knob located here is a 16-channel selector knob used to navigate between channels within each zone. The large orange button located at the top of the radio is the emergency activation button. The top also has a screen that mirrors the front of the radio and is the navigation control screen with a battery indicator in the upper right corner. Located here below the channel selector knob is the radio lock button. When the radio lock button is on the on position, the channel selector knob is disabled, thus not allowing the radio to change channels. The large button here in the center is the push to talk button. Below the push to talk button is the radio screen light, and also if you hold it in, it'll change the orientation on the top screen of your radio. Looking at the front view of the mic, on the left side you have the left side transmit mic, and on the opposite side you have the right side transmit mic, as well as the receive audio speaker located here. Looking at the top view of the mic, the volume control for the receive audio is located here. Next to it, the orange button is your emergency activation button. Here we are looking at the mic cord connector. The mic cord connector has the earphone 3.5mm audio jack where you can plug in an earpiece for the radio.
This is Roger Bennett, Deputy Director of Operations for the Allegany County Department of Emergency Services. We'll start off with your zones for inside of your APX 8500 portable. Your first zone, which will be corresponded with the A position on the top of the radio, is your agency bank, which will have all of the local agencies within the county and state that you'll do most of your communication with. Always the top position at 1 and the bottom position at 16 will be your dispatch channels. Right below your dispatch channel, you'll have your TAC 1, which is a shared encrypted channel with other agencies, law enforcement agencies, and you'll also have a TAC 2 just for your agency. No other agency will have that, and TAC 2 is also encrypted. Below that, you'll have all the agencies within the county, which include the Sheriff's Office, Cumberland Barracks, Cumberland Police, Frostburg Police, and FSU Police, along with 2 encrypted channels for C3I and C3IN ops. Each of the C3I agencies will also have a TAC channel, which only their agency will have access to, and it will also be encrypted. Those assigned to C3I and C3IN will have a single bank at the end of the radio, which will have all of their channels in it, along with the dispatch channel from their home department. Okay, moving on to the second zone, which will correspond with the B on the top of the radio. We call this zone the LEO zone. This will also begin with your agency's dispatch channel at the position 1 and position 16 on the knob, and then we'll just list the other agency's dispatch channels, not including their encrypted TAC channel. Below that, we'll go ahead and list your mutual aid agencies, which are the Washington Sheriff, West Virginia State Police Romney, Mineral Law, Hampshire Law, Morgan Law, Bedford Law, Kaiser PD, Natural Resource Police, and we also listed your encrypted channel. Moving on to the third zone, which it corresponds with the C, as in Charlie, on top of your radio, are the repeaters. How we have it set up is that the repeaters correspond with the particular law enforcement agency, 1 being the Sheriff's Office, 2 being Cumberland Police, 3 being Frostburg Police Department, and FSU Police Department. We left 4 open in case we would have a special operation going on that we need to include with that. How you would activate the repeater is you would go to the repeater channel that corresponds with your agency, and you can hit a button on your mobile, which will be identified as your vehicle repeater button, and then you would go ahead and just talk across your portable, and it will go out on the mobile channel that you left the radio on when you departed the car. If you did not activate your mobile before getting out of the car, that blue button on the side of your portable can also activate the repeater inside of the vehicle. The activation of the repeater, again, have the ability so that you can transmit over the mobile's radio with 30 watts compared to the 3 watts of the portable. Moving on to your fourth bank, which is the 700 direct law. These 4 channels, as you can see, end in the letter D. D indicates that it is a direct channel, radio to radio, and it does not go off of a tower, and it is not encrypted. The next 2 banks are your MSP 1 and 2 for interoperability throughout the state. We've given you the ability to talk to any of the barracks, no matter where you are within the state. The codes and the location are listed for each barracks. Moving on to the next bank, this is your MSP Hilo Bank. As you notice, these also have Ds in them for direct channel. This gives the ability for ground to air communication between the officers and the helicopter. The helicopter does have a channel within it that dispatch can patch into the police channel that is doing the operation, but they prefer to do ground to air communication on the direct channels. For the next bank, this is your ALCO countywide and event channels. The 6 TAC channels, which are the countywide channels, and the 4 event channels provide interoperability between agencies and departments within the county. Initially, all fire, EMS, and law enforcement will have these channels within inside their radio. Eventually, city streets, utilities, water department, school buses will also have these within inside of their radios to provide interoperability between all agencies. The next bank is your Leo 2 bank. This is what we've set up with some direct channels that were provided by other fire agencies and EMS agencies and police agencies. We start off again with your dispatch channel at the 1 and the 16 position. We list in there the FSU repeater, which is the current system that the FSU Police Department uses. And then we have 2 channels from the Finance Center, law enforcement, along with 3 security channels from Western Maryland Health System. Moving on to the next 3 banks, we've separated those out into the high schools and the feeder schools that go into those high schools, and we also bottom those out with your security channels and your all-call channels for the Board of Ed. Initially, these will all be local direct channels, radio to radio, and you'll be able to talk on these when you are within range of the school. The next bank is your ALCO Fire Bank. We've provided you the alert channel that all the fire and EMS units will have. This is a receive-only channel. You cannot talk back to dispatch on this channel, as the fire and EMS cannot talk back either. This is just for where they put out their alerts to units to respond to incidences. Moving on to the next bank, These are direct channels. This is your 700 interop direct bank. Any of these channels can be used radio to radio, and we also include the Helo direct channels within this bank. Moving on to the next bank, this is the 700 interop repeater bank. These particular channels are repeated throughout the state, and inside of our area, 72R is the one that is on Dan's Rock, and if we have units come into this area from out of the area for operations to support us, that would be the channel they would go to if they do not have our channels within their radio. The 800 interop bank is the next bank. These are the 800 channels, both direct and repeated, that are throughout the county, which are part of WAGN, the Washington Allegheny Garrett Interoperability Network. The next bank is the 450 UCall bank. This is the same as the 800 interop bank. These channels are repeated throughout the county, and they are part of the WAGN system. The D channels are direct and do not repeat off of any tower. The Maryland Call Bank, again, is an interstate interoperability channels that can be used if you're deployed as a task force or a strike team down to any other place within the state. You'll have the ability to talk to them on these channels. The last bank is a regional interop bank for West Virginia. If you would be involved in any incidents across the border south of us, you would be able to use these channels to talk to the police agencies and dispatch centers within those counties. Okay, I'd like to talk about a couple special features on the radio that we want to highlight. That one would be the battery. The battery is a smart battery along with a smart charger. The battery charger has a couple different functions. One, it can recharge your battery to full within about an hour. It can also recondition that battery. It is recommended that the switch on the bottom of the battery charger is put in the off position so that when you put the radio in there, that it only charges it each time. When a full charge is obtained, the light will go green. If the light goes green to yellow flashing, then that means that the battery's been recharged, but it is recommending you recondition the battery sometime in the future. When you make that determination, when you're ready to recondition the battery, you'll switch the bottom of the charger to on, and you'll go ahead and put that radio in there with the battery on it, and it will drain the battery completely down and then charge it back up slowly. This process takes approximately 12 hours, and that your battery will be fully ready to go after that point. So it's recommended if you need a quick charge, you do not have your battery charger in the on position, you leave it in the off position so that you can recondition it when you choose to, not when the battery charger wants to. It's recommended that this be done every 3 to 4 months, and again, the battery will tell you when it's ready to be reconditioned, and then you can just pick the time of your choice to do that. Other features with the battery will last a full 24-hour shift of constantly talking. The batteries are guaranteed for 3 years with this level, and then most batteries last up to 5 years after that. If you have any issues with your batteries, be sure to let us know so that we can take a look at it. We have the ability of plugging into the charger and looking at the battery to see how the battery's life has been. It's recommended for better health to the battery is the radio's not left in the charger after the light turns green, that you pull it out. They say that the battery can keep a full charge for 15 months after being pulled out and set there with the not in the on position. It's also recommended you do not turn the radio on and stick it inside of the charger while you are charging it because that will cause issues with the battery. There has been base stations placed at each police agency so that they can listen to the channel while their radios are recharging. Next, we'll move on to the emergency button. The emergency button can be activated by pushing the orange button on top of the radio or on top of the speaker mic. Once it's activated, it will give you approximately 15 seconds of open mic so that you can go ahead and tell the dispatch and other officers what your emergency is. This button cannot be reset in the field. Only dispatch can reset this button. Once this button is activated, you will have a sound go across the radio, and then you'll be able to give your emergency situation out. Only dispatch can clear this. If you accidentally activate the emergency button, just notify dispatch that everything is okay, and they will go ahead and reset it. Moving on to the next feature that we wanted to discuss will be the repeater. The repeater system is set up so that you can activate your own repeater in your car, either on the mobile itself where it says VRS for repeater system, or you can activate it by hitting the blue button on your portable. The channel that the radio is set on is the channel that you'll broadcast through the repeater, and the radio itself will utilize the 30-watt capability of that radio to push your signal out. The portable has to be set on your repeater channel, which is 1 for the Sheriff's Office, 2 for Cumberland Police, or 3 for Frostburg Police and FSU Police. Once you're set onto those repeater channels in your portable, you'll be able to communicate across your mobile back to dispatch or anywhere you have. The idea of using the repeaters is to give you the ability to have in-building coverage in areas where that is weak enough that the 700 system does not provide you that capability. Some additional features include your ability to change the profile of your radio. That is navigated through your main screen by using the right arrow button to go over to where it shows you a profile. Once you hit the profile button, you can go ahead and set your radio to loud, which doubles the speaker volume on your radio so that it is louder. You can also go to a surveillance mode, which will take the channel announce off and also dim the lights on your radio if you're in a surveillance mode, or go back to default, which will put your lighting and your voice back into your radio's default positions. The other area that I want to highlight includes your scan ability. As Steve pointed out, you can hit the bottom moon button on the side in order to activate scan. You as the officer or deputy get to choose what channels you scan. We opened it up so that you can choose to scan 10 different channels within your radio. If you go into the main navigation screen and arrow to the position where it says scan list, you can go down through every channel that's in the radio and tag on them. Once you get to 10, it'll no longer allow you to add additional ones. If you want to add an additional channel, you'll have to unhighlight or delete that channel from your scan bank and then hit save. Once you have those channels designated, you can go ahead and hit scan and it'll scan through those channels. It's recommended that if you are from one of the police agencies, use your priority button by holding down on the select button for scan over that, and that'll make that channel a priority over any other channel when it's scanning. So if you are listening to another channel and someone talks on your dispatch channel, it will pull off and go over to your dispatch channel as a priority. Scanning can be very useful, but it can also be very dangerous because you do take the possibility of missing something while your radio is in the scan mode. One of the other features on the speaker mic includes the noise canceling ability. This allows the radio to screen out all other background noises so that you can talk in heavy traffic, gunfire, and other loud noises that you may be exposed to. In order for this to work, you must hold the radio up to your mouth 3 to 4 inches away when talking into it. If you talk away from the radio or direct your voice to any other direction than right into the mic from that 3 to 4 distance, your ability to communicate successfully will not be there.